Welcome to Nitpicking Nerds. Today we're talking about 10 different commanders.
10 commanders that are all underrated.
I'm your host, Joe Cherries.
I'm your host, Beezy, and that makes us the Nitpicking Nerds. We're still bringing you daily content, even though yesterday's daily content was at like 9 p.m. We're back to regular schedule. Check out the TCG player link, buy cards from there, check out, and then when you fulfill the order, we get a kickback and you don't spend any extra money.
And check out our Kickstarter. Be the 110th or 13th.
113th.
13th, 14th, 15th, 16th. Be one of those numbers and support us and help the Kickstarter for our gameplay series, Shuffle Scuffle.
We are running out of time. You are now no longer justified in putting it off because there's only, I think, 11 days left.
Yeah, we're almost at single digits. That's unbelievable.
So exciting.
So exciting. Yeah, it is very, very exciting. So let's get into this video. We are talking about underrated commanders. 10 of them that you might not know are good, or even not even just good. They're great in a lot of these senses.
Yeah, some of them, the power level at which they are underrated or amazing, maybe slightly lower than what we usually play at.
Sure.
But certainly all of these can be underrated, and you will get annihilated if you don't respect them.
Yeah. Actually, I think this first one's just underrated, period. It's Killian, Ink Duelist. White and black for a legendary creature, human warlock. It's a 2/2. He has lifelink and menace. Spells you cast the targeted creature cost 2 less to cast. So Killian doesn't care what kind of spells there. He doesn't care if they're auras. He doesn't care if they're instants, sorceries, anything that targets a creature. I really like the idea, and what I want to do with him is I want to protect him early, get him protected, make sure he's going to stay on the battlefield, and now that all my spot removal spells cost less. Ooh, I think there's a lot to do with this card.
There's some really cool stuff. It just kind of looks like a build around uncommon for like draft or something, but it's actually like all 5 of those, that little cycle, they're pretty good. This one I think is the second best next to Dina, but he'll mess you up. There's just so many different things you can do with playing these hyper cheap kill spells, holding up mana. It's almost like a feather deck where if you play a bunch of these cantrips and things, you're just doing all these tiny little actions over and over. Protecting Killian, he's not going to go away. You have all these cheap, like, oh, all right, we'll give him protection from creatures for 1 mana and draw a card. That's taken care of. Now he can't die in combat. It's just, there's so many tiny little things you might not notice with Killian. He'll mess you up.
Yeah, exactly. And like you just got to focus on working on targeting creatures. So you need things that say target, and you want to just get that full discount. So you want things that probably cost, your curve's going to be a little higher. It's going to look a little higher, but the spells are only going to cost you 1-2 mana every single time because you're going to build it to be that way.
I'd also be interested if there are any colorless spells, because I know there are colorless spells that target, and you could really get them down to like 1 or 0 maybe.
Yeah, there definitely are. And I just think overall, it's going to discount so much mana. And I think one of my favorite things is just your removal spells. All your removal spells is not a creature you control. So if you have a removal spell that costs like 2 and a black to like kill something, it's just a black that kills something.
I'm thinking like X spells. You get to throw extra 2 mana into all your X spells that target something.
Yeah, that's also very strong. Killian just overall, I think one of his strongest points is he's just a 2 mana. He comes down early, and he doesn't come off as that big of a threat. And just wait till like you have 3 mana, and then leave up whatever protection you have in your deck for him.
Yeah, I mean, he does come with lifelink and menace. Those are relevant.
Yes, definitely relevant when you're going to be attacking. Like you said, if you just throw on like an unquestioned authority for 1 mana, all of a sudden he's unblockable.
Yeah, I mean, I think lifelink menace on a 2/2 is probably good for like 5 attacks that just people are not going to be able to block.
2/2 for 2. That's
yeah, like on turn 2, if you play a 2/2 with menace, probably going to get in there like 5 times.
Yeah, Killian just overall very strong, definitely underrated. What's next?
It's Valki, God of Lies, 1 and a black for a 2/1. When it enters, each opponent reveals their hand. For each opponent, take a creature they reveal until he leaves the battlefield. You can pay X and have him become a copy of one of those creatures, but the real side is Tybalt. Static ability, as Tybalt enters the battlefield, you get an emblem with, you may play cards exiled with Tybalt, Cosmic Imposter, and you may spend mana as though it were a mana of any color to cast those spells. +2, exile the top card of each player's library. -3, exile target artifact or creature. -8, exile all cards from all graveyards, add red. Even after Joe built this deck, we had it a little underrated. I think the thing we missed out that makes this card so crazy is just rituals that are not good in Commander. You just spew them off and cast Tybalt on like turn 3 every game, and it's so hard to come back from.
Yeah, exactly. Tybalt, you just put yourself down. It doesn't matter. You can literally ditch your whole hand to get Tybalt onto the battlefield, and it just doesn't matter because Tybalt's just card advantage is so insane. He also pluses to such a high loyalty, it makes him hard to attack down. you just protect him. You minus to get rid of anything stupid on the board that's going to get at you. I mean, this card just overperforms every time, and it stays in the battlefield way longer than everyone always expects. Like, it's a Planeswalker. Planeswalker are so weak because you can just attack them, but, geez, Tibble is good.
And he's always just at, like, 30 loyalty for some reason. He just never goes away. The one weakness he has is because he's red-black, you can, like, imprison him in the moon. But even then, if you're plussing to get access to other people's stuff, it's like, oh, I found a Rex Sage. I found a Chaos Warp, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. He is very weak specifically to, like you said, Imprison the Moon, Dryad, Song of the Dryads. Those cards specifically lock him down really hard because you're in red-black and you cannot destroy enchantments. Still, the fact is, it's a simple card advantage engine. And I think this is one where it's like, I don't think we underrate it. But I was looking on EDH Rec, and it looks like no one's building this card, which is shocking because, one, it looks so fun.
It's so cool.
And cool on paper. So you would think that, okay, it's fun and cool. People will build it regardless if it's good. It's also insanely strong on top of all that.
And they're opening it in booster packs. I'm like, Valki got to lies. This card sucks, and they don't even flip it over.
Yeah, it's Valki sucks. Tibble, Cosmic Imposter, he's awesome. I actually, for my deck, it's always in the Tibble side, and I will never, ever cast the Valki side. Someone will have to flicker my Planeswalker to get Valki onto the battlefield.
And then we'll take the trigger. All right.
So stupid.
Jazal Goldmane is next. What does he do?
2 white for a 4/4 legendary creature, Cat Warrior. He has first strike. 3 white. Attacking creatures you control get +X until end of turn, where X is the number of attacking creatures. This card is a lot of mana and a lot of investment. One of his activations is enough to simply overrun a game and just take it over. You build this token stack. You get to do the classic end of turn, secure the waste, slam this, attack for literally millions.
Yes.
Maybe not literally.
This is definitely a card that I've lost to because I just went, whatever. It's just like I just ignore it. You scan the board real quick for threats and you're like, no, not yet. But even if there's only 5 creatures in play, they just go tap out. +10/+10, kill somebody, and that somebody might be you. So just don't ignore this. You can't ignore this. It's really good if they have the mana and the creatures, and if they do, get rid of Jazal.
This card is more of an attacks meta card. This obviously in your really high powered metas that don't care about attacking isn't going to be super good, but still, even in those metas, it can be good if you build your deck correctly to get the tokens. You want to get the tokens at instant speed, completely catch someone off guard by slamming this. But you still need a lot of mana. It is mana white. Those are its weaknesses. Still think this card there's like in the past 2 years, only 42 Jazal decks have been made. Dang.
Which I think is ever. I think it's 42 decks ever.
Dang. Jazal just completely just being disrespected.
He at least seems better than that.
I agree. I would agree with that completely. What do we have next, BC?
It's Urabrask the Hidden. He's 3 red for a 4/4. Your creatures have haste. Other creatures that you don't control enter the battlefield tapped. This is a nice combat swing. Obviously, you want to be in the red zone at all times because your opponents are a turn behind and you're a turn ahead, which is like 2 turns difference.
Yeah, it's so huge. It's this deck again focusing on attacking, but you just get everything to enter tapped. So their blockers, they have to have the blockers already on the battlefield that are going to be blocking for their next turn. You just get and everything you have gets in the red zone right away. This deck loves things like a Tali, anything with attack triggers. Stuff.
Inferno Titan
Literally loves attack triggers because it curves right into them.
Oh yeah, those two especially. It's just so brutal. And then there's plenty of like big creatures you can play before. You can almost go like a beatdown strategy with this. Just make sure you're finding a way to get your cards back. And I think Urabrask is a little disrespected. I think if you overlook him, you're going to get smacked for more damage than you would think.
Yeah, exactly. I think the entering tapped is just such a huge thing. Like he is one of the worst praetors. He's
the worst praetor.
He's not, well, I don't even agree. It depends if what we're talking about because I think Shieldred's worse. This card is better than Shieldred.
Shieldred might be worse.
Yeah, in Commander. But overall, I think he just doesn't get the respect he deserves because he's mono red probably, and that's the main thing. But you can just beat down so hard. The entering tapped is going to just absolutely devastate your opponents and put them so far behind. If they don't have blockers when you play Urabrask, they don't have blockers next turn either.
Yeah, I mean, it's a haste enabler in the command zone. It's weird because it doesn't really look like a haste enabler. The wording's a little weird on it. And it's also the least flashy praetor by like a fair bit. But the like blind obedience text plus the haste enabler text, if you're going to slam a bunch of creatures in play at once somehow, then this is just going to wreck people.
Absolutely. So Urabrask, another one of those underrated. Next we have Kalitas, traitor of ghet. 2 black for a 3/4 with lifelink. It's a vampire warrior. If a non-token creature an opponent controls would die, instead exile that card and create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. 2 and a black, sacrifice another vampire or zombie. Put 2 +1/+1 counters on Kalitas, traitor of ghet.
This is a really good like black mid-rangey type commander, or you can play tribal vampires, or you can play tribal zombies with it since he has that last ability. It sort of ties everything together. But the fact that this is a 4-mana like hate bear, you can't use dice synergies. You don't get dice triggers. Your creatures don't go to the graveyard. It's really good. This is so annoying.
Yeah, I think it's really good for stopping specific decks overall, and just exiling just all the threats from going to the graveyard so they can't recur them. I think something really, really good about this card is his ability to come out on turn 3 or 4, just early, and then you just cast a wipe in 2 or 3 turns, and you're left with a huge board because he's just going to exile all of those creatures anyway. Even though he dies, he still sees all those creatures go to the graveyard. You're going to get like 20 zombies, and now all of a sudden, even though you just wiped the board, you still have tons of threat.
Somebody now has to wipe the board.
Exactly.
This works really well with like Toxic Deluge if you want to sack 2 of the zombies and then kill everything but Kalitas.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe get in for a few lifelink points after that. It's really efficient. It's an annoying card. It's like kind of on that like Camball level where you don't really want to kill it. Some decks have no interest in killing it at all, and then it's just going to stick around and be really sticky and annoying.
Yeah, exactly. He starts getting a little expensive once he dies once or twice, but he's still just overall he's super annoying because he just doesn't look like much at all. He's a 3/4 with lifelink. Oh wow, a static ability to get zombies. Wow, he's so strong. But all of that just adds up to the super annoying card. And like you said, you just start throwing counters on him so he can swing in, and all of a sudden it's like a 14-point life swing because he's just got like a bajillion counters on him.
Don't leave Kalitas unattended. That's good PSA for today. Next, Trostani Discordant, 3 green/white for a 1/4. Other creatures you control get +1/+1. When it enters the battlefield, you create 2 1/1 white soldier creature tokens with lifelink. At the beginning of your end step, each player gains control of all creatures they own. Intense example of doesn't look like much at all.
It doesn't, but it does provide you with 5 power right away, and that's the minimum it can provide you because every single one of your creatures gets pumped by her Anthem effect. Now, usually Anthem's not too insane. Like, they're medium. They're just an okay effect. But when you add in the fact that she comes with 2 bodies to pump, it makes her something so much better. And I can't even describe how annoying her second ability is when I play a Valki deck.
Or any deck that just has gain control effects kind of just rotting in your hand. Because even taking control of Trostani doesn't do anything. She'll just take herself back to her controller.
Yeah, exactly. So you can't take control of any of their creatures. This card is so annoying. That like extra stapled part on there that like seems like it's flavor text at most times can just stop somebody from using a reanimate, an animate dead, anything like that. And I hate it. I hate this card.
I think it was like a plant to power down Agent of Treachery, which obviously didn't work at all.
Not even.
And this is burn it, and then they're playing it on turn 4.
Yeah, not even remotely close to stopping that. Trostani, it's definitely an attacks meta card because it's giving you an Anthem effect, which isn't, like I said, it's not the strongest thing in the world, but I just think that she's not seeing play at all. And we looked on EDHREC to like see how much she's seeing play. No one's building Trostani decks, which is so weird to me because this card is awesome.
Yeah, it's really good. Some of these cards we've tested out in the Commander Cube. This is one of the winningest legendary creatures in the whole cube.
Yes, it is.
Which is very interesting. That's basically a commander without infinite combos. So if that sounds like what you might play, I would definitely give this a try.
Yes. Next we have Freyalise, llanowar Fury. 3 green for a legendary planeswalker. Freyalise enters with 3 loyalty. +2, create a 1/1 elf druid creature token with tap add green. -2, destroy target artifact or enchantment. -6, draw a card for each green creature you control. Freyalise can be your commander. So she's so strong because she can just always get a 1/1. You're gonna play her in an elf deck. Obviously, she has tons. She is designed to be an elf commander, so she always has just all these chump blockers to protect her. She can just pick off all the stupid, annoying artifacts in the field, which is always stupid, annoying artifacts in the field. And then on top of that, she ults in like 2 seconds.
Yes, I built a Freyalise deck, and I had it for probably about like 2 years. And it was super fun to play. It was like this, it's kind of off the beaten path because we're not playing a Zuri or like one of those mono green creatures. It's a planeswalker and an elf deck, which is weird. But the play pattern that happens almost every single time, honestly, is 1-mana accelerant or some super 2-mana accelerant. And you're playing Freyalise on turn 3, making an elf. So now there's another ramper in play. You're going to untap on turn 4, make another elf, and then on turn 5, you're ready to basically win the game with drawing anywhere from 5 to 10 cards. And then if you have a haste enabler, you're just going off.
I don't know if I'd say win the game. You're definitely putting yourself in a strong position.
Dominate the game, maybe?
Yeah, I don't think that she...
I've won games on turn 5 before.
That's fair, yeah. That is completely reasonable. Yeah, Freyalise, I love her minus. I think her minus is really what keeps her as the strong card that she is she can just come down and immediately answer potentially one of, if not, the biggest threat in play with her minus. And the next turn, she just pluses to start making elves again.
So I've definitely brokered deals and seen people broker deals with this. Like, hey, I'll blow this up, but you gotta leave Freyalise alone. It's like, all right, yeah, I need that Aetherflux Reservoir gone.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. Yeah, obviously I'll leave it alone if you get rid of the Necropotence on the battlefield.
Right, and the Freyalise player's like, great, I barely care.
Yeah, I was gonna do that either way. you listen to me, you fool.
You fool.
What's next?
It's Karazikar, the Eye Tyrant. 3 black red for a 5/5. Whenever you attack a player, tap target creature that player controls and goad it. Whenever an opponent attacks another one of your opponents, you and the attacking player each draw a card and lose a life. This is a brand new commander that totally just got overlooked because Prosper's way cooler, so he's in way more decks, but I think having seen this card in play enough times, if it's not dealt with, you're going to blink and all of a sudden the player who controls Karazikar just drew 8 cards, and then the other 8 were spread around, and they're going to untap and go crazy.
Yeah, exactly. You get them down, and you just start goading, and the thing about goad that you can do every single turn is the biggest threat. Every single go around the table is not coming at you. Plus, when he attacks, you can attack into an 8/8 because you'll just tap it and goad it. Card is very strong. And like you said, the card advantage just comes so quick. Everyone's like, well, I want a card, so I'll do it to get the card. But guess what? Oh, you also give that guy a card. So he's getting more advantage than anyone.
It's death by 1,000 cuts. Every one decision is good for you, but then they're all a net bad for you, and you probably shouldn't do it, but it's hard not to attack, especially when you goad their creatures, forcing them to attack one of your opponents and then letting you draw a card.
Yeah, exactly. So you can you pair it up with a ton of other goad cards too to just make... If you play like the Decorum card, what's that card?
Disrupt Decorum.
Disrupt Decorum. If you play that card, you goad everything. You're going to draw 3 cards before it comes back around to you, and your opponents are going to beat up on each other.
Exactly. It's a win-win. For those people who haven't built Prosper yet, I don't know how many of you that is, give this a try if you're looking for like a Rakdos Spice commander.
Yes, he is very spicy. Next is a card this is probably the one I think is the most underrated on this whole list after having seen it in regular Commander and Commander Cube. Lavinia of the 10th. 3 white-blue for a legendary creature, human soldier, 4/4. Protection from red. That's why she's so good. Whenever Lavinia of the 10th enters the battlefield, detain each non-land permanent your opponent's control with converted mana cost 4 or less. Detaining is until your next turn, those permanents can't attack or block, and their activated abilities can't be activated.
Wow, protection from red?
I know, it's pretty insane.
Jeez.
How do you, like, a 4-mana 4/4 in Blaster's Act doesn't kill it? How is that even fair? 5-mana 4/4.
But actually, this card is borderline miserable.
Yeah, it just stops other players from playing the game. All of their mana rocks are going to cost less than 4 or less, and all their most creatures. The thing is, most cards in Commander cost 4 or less. That's why she's so insane. She just detains everything on the board.
And any token, with almost no exceptions.
Yes. This card is completely miserable. You play her, the next go around, you've detained 90% of the board. Then you get back to your turn, you flicker, you do it again.
Yep. You just momentary blink this thing to oblivion. Ephemerate is nuts. That's like the real juice. Because you just get like 85 more detains. And it's until your next upkeep, so the player to your left isn't doing anything for the whole cycle. And the only thing you can play instants, you can still play spells and stuff, but your creatures are just stuck.
Yeah.
Like an elf. This is an elf ball deck's worst nightmare.
This is not symmetrical. That's why it's so miserable.
That's true too. It's not even symmetrical. Do whatever you want.
You just lock out the other players. It's like this terrible, mean hate piece, but it's so strong. I never thought this card was good. Like, if you had asked me 2-3 months ago if Lavinia of the 10th was playable in Commander, I'd be like, no,
That's a junk rare from Dragon's Maze.
Yeah, that card is horrible. Why would you ever play that card? Now I'm like, that card is one of the most miserable, annoying, good cards in Commander. I hate it.
Well, maybe like less miserable and more just like, oh, jeez. It's just can be backbreaking, especially if you haven't drawn one of your big chonkers to pressure them with. And if it's Inferno Titan, you can't even do it because she's got pro red.
Yeah, exactly. Just look at your decks and look how much stuff costs 4 and less and how much it costs 5 and more. You'll realize real quickly why Lavinia is just going to hose most decks in this format, not everyone.
If someone taps out for Lavinia, you kill it. You have to kill it because they're going to flicker it if you don't and waste your removal spell. And then they're just having mana up for counter spells or whatever else they want to do. Kill Lavinia when she's tapped out.
The worst part is if you can't counter it, it still gets the ETB, and then you have to go around the table.
Spend one more turn.
And then you kill it, and you go, oh, crap. They can cast it again now because it's been 2 turns.
Yeah, Lavinia is like the top of these 10. It's the top of like, this is underrated, this is underappreciated, and when you see them play, you'll realize how annoying it actually is.
It is it is a very strong commander card that it definitely belongs in more decks than it is in.
Yes, for sure. Honestly, I think this is like a junior, much less offensive stacks commander. I think you could do that.
Yeah.
If you don't want to play like Winter Orb, this is like fair stacks.
Yeah, Lavinia, obviously, I said in decks, but also she's also underplayed as a commander as well.
Totally. What is the last one?
Well, it's Rafiq of the Many, and what does it do, Beezy?
He's 1 green, blue, white. For a 3/3, he is Exalted, which means whenever a creature you control attacks alone, it gets +1/+1. And Rafiq says that happens, but also it gains double strike. So if you attack with Rafiq by himself, he's a 4/4 with double strike. This is kind of underrated. I don't think a lot of people are too in the dark about what Rafiq does, but if you are, or if you're new to Commander and you see this card, you need to kill it. If it's the Commander and it attacks, you're going to die.
I feel like this is one that people might just not know about because Rafiq...
It's old.
It's old. I mean, it's just an Alara card. Which set?
2008. It is Shards of Alara.
It is from Shards of Alara. Okay, so it's an Alara card from the Bant Shard, and nobody has seen this card on the battlefield. Not often. Besides the deck that BZ played, I don't think I've ever, not in a gameplay video or anything, seen this card played.
I remember seeing it right around the time of Dragon's Maze pre-release happened, so that was pretty recent.
That's pretty recent.
That's pretty recent.
That was like right when I started playing Magic.
But the math just works out such that when Rafiq attacks, it is trivially easy to annihilate someone. If you throw a Rancor on Rafiq, he attacks for 12. You're already halfway there.
Yeah, it's really easy to get. You only have to get his power to 11 to be a one-shot. His power is 3. Attacks goes to 4. So you just need to make 7 power onto him, and it's a one-shot. Now, is that trivial? No, it's a little bit of a hoop to jump through. But if you get there, guess what? The player that you're attacking is dead. They're out of the game. They're not here anymore. Get out of here.
Yeah, there's some decks that can go like the Aura Equipment Voltron route, but you can also just play like, this is such a fast clock, you can just play pump spells. Become Immense on this is almost a 2-card kill.
Yes. So you get to wipe people just completely out of the game, but with his surprising out-of-nowhere attacks. And guess what? You don't even have to necessarily suit him up. You can suit something else up. He just wants something to be attacking alone. That's the only key to it.
And the effect has haste, because if you have a 6/6 out and then you play Rafiq, it's like, all right, swing for 13-14?
13-14, yeah, exactly. 13-14.
27.
Unbelievable. 27 even. Why not just swing for everything? But those are 10 underrated commanders, and that is the end of this video. Special shout-outs to every single one of our patrons. Love you guys all as much as we can without making you uncomfortable. Obviously, we would never want to make you uncomfortable.
Unless, of course, you're uncomfortable hearing about TCG player affiliate links, then too bad, because you're going to go to the description, you're going to buy the cards you were going to buy anyway, you're going to support local businesses, and we're going to get money from TCG player because you started with the link. That's amazing. It's fairy tale ending, truly.
Yes, we appreciate that very, very much.
Kickstarter.
And, yes, I was going to say that. Calm down.
Kickstarter.
We have a Kickstarter. It's running currently. It has about 10 days left. Go to it. Support us. Become the 113th, 14th, 15th, 16th person. Be whatever number you want to be. Support us and show us that we're awesome, because we know we're awesome. But show us that you think we're awesome by giving to the Kickstarter and getting ready for gameplay.
Commander gameplay with the Nitpicking Nerds is going to change YouTube forever, honestly. But
what
Wouldn't you want to say that you were part of that?
We're already changing YouTube forever. We've already changed the landscape. We're carrying YouTube on our back, as one of our comments said.
Ranking every commander? What? Every commander?
You got it, recruiter boy.
What?
What's our tidbit about our life? Is it my turn?
Yeah, it's definitely your turn.
Definitely?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I, Joe Cherries, am newly single. I broke up with my boyfriend about 2.5 weeks ago, so I'm single. I just, something to throw out there, say.
For those looking.
Hey, I mean, I've gotten, to be fair, I have been hit up by more than my fair share of people from YouTube.
Yep.
Why'd you say yep?
I just know that.
Yeah, because the comment section, you also have the same
public
accent.
information. So
Yeah.
sometimes you're just talking to me.
Joe Cherries is so cute, and you go, yep.
Or I go like, no, I'm disgusting.
Have you done that before?
I've definitely done that at least once. Not word for word, but I've said something stupid in response to one of those things.
That's completely fair. So I am newly single, and
looking to mingle? I don't know.
I am looking to mingle. I am back on dating apps. And God, I forgot how much I hate dating apps.
We do have a new patron tier. It's $10,000. Date with Joe Cherries. And I still do get half of that money.
What do you call it? What's it called?
Oh God, it's I don't know what would you call that? Just like torture?
Okay, I was something bread related. I was thinking.
All our tiers are bread related. I don't know.
What is the best bread ever?
The best bread ever? Sesame bread is really good.
You do love sesame bread. BZ, this is the last part of the tidbit. BZ loves, and I mean loves bread.
Bread is so good. I eat a ton of bread. It doesn't look like it.
I don't know how, like, if life was fair, BZ and me would weigh the same, because he eats about as bad as me, but he's just younger and got a great metabolism. And
you can't even use the younger thing. You said that 5 years ago.
No!
Your metabolism's going to start declining, and then you're going to get fat. And now I'm 24. It's like, when's that going to happen?
Well, to be fair, when I was 24,
I will never die.
When I was your age, I was 24. When we first met, I wasn't very chubby. I was pretty skinny. I really was.
I can't remember what you look like.
Yeah, exactly, because
You didn't have a beard, I don't think. You went on and off with the beard.
Yeah, I'm definitely never getting rid of the beard again.
Really?
No, I don't like how I look without a beard. It's just I'm so used to it at this point. It's part of like my look.
Well, all right. Maybe I will get a beard, and it would be the worst.
Yeah, BZ. I mean, it'll be at least 3 years before BZ can even grow half a beard.
My hair does not grow. Some people use that as an insult. And I think that's a pretty poorly constructed insult.
Yeah, I don't know. People like it's. Yeah, it's just a dumb insult, like you said. I don't know what else to say except for it's toxic masculinity type thing. That's the kind of people who use that as an insult.
That's what it is.
Who think that a beard has something to do with how manly you are.
Well, it really helps you cope with peaking in high school, I think.
Yeah. Peace out, Tribe Scout.